120 Hz in Gran Turismo 7. I've been playing in this mode a lot. For me, as a sim racer, it's just more responsive. I feel like my inputs are more immediately recognized by the car that I'm driving. But you have to understand, and I'm going to make it clear in this video, that if you want to play at 120 Hz, you have to accept you're going to take a big graphical performance hit. Now, I have it on the moment actually in the 120 Hz graphic setting, as opposed to the frame rate settings. This is the best graphics you can get at 120 Hz. And the game, realistically, is actually more akin to playing Gran Turismo Sport, I would say, than Gran Turismo 7. There's a lot of anti-aliasing, look at my new pronunciation now, that you don't get in this one. You can see here the white lines. That's not such a huge deal, but there is also a really significant level of detail pop-in that can be quite distracting. And ultimately, when it comes to pure performance, pure speed in sim racing, you want to be able to pick out references, pick out markers by the side of the track. And you're less able to do that in the 120 frame rate mode. So you have to take the kind of rough with the smooth here. If you want that smooth feeling of driving in 120 Hz, then you have to understand that you're going to lose the graphical thing. I don't know if that's made clear. I don't know if it's obvious or not. I'm going to show you here how the settings work so we can just demystify this. So if I go here to settings at the top, options, display settings, you can see that we've got prioritized ray tracing resolution. I'm going to go now to 60 FPS mode, and it's restarted there. And the menus right now really don't feel as fluid because actually I think it takes it to 30 FPS when you do that for some reason in the menus. But we're going to go to frame rate 60 FPS here for Spa, and we're going to start. And you can just see, my word, the graphics are like, this feels like a PS5 game, whereas it just feels more like a PS4 game on 120 Hz. Now, is 60 frames a second acceptable to go racing? Well, obviously yes. And is it better to race in 120 Hz or 60? I can't give you an answer for that. That has to come down to personal preference. But the graphics here are just so much more pleasing, especially when it comes to replays as well. So we smashed into the barrier there. See, I go around the car here. I don't know if you get some added motion blur as well in 60, which gives it a more sort of like almost cinematic effect. You definitely get a better blur. You definitely get better reflections and glare. Have a look at the reflections in the rear headlights and the glare there as well. So I don't have my headphones on, so I'm probably revving the car really annoyingly. As we come over the top of Eau Rouge, I want to kind of stop where we started the last video. You can see here the grass is just quite a lot better, a lot denser as well, I think. And it also just seems a bit more vivid. I'm going to go now to 120 Hz in frame rate mode, which is the other end of the spectrum, just so you have a really clear idea. Because you might be watching this thinking, oh, should I get a 120 Hz monitor or not? Should I get Gran Turismo 7 or not? So I just want to show you. So this is 120 Hz frame rate. This is going to be the worst graphical settings that you can get. So we're going to go out again. Menus though are super smooth, and you can see here just like how rough it is. It's obviously running at a lower resolution. There is, you know, really poor anti-aliasing going on, and even as I pan around the car, if you have a look at the rear headlights, this isn't the same level of reflection going on. There isn't that graphical fidelity, and everything kind of in the distance there becomes a mush. Let's actually stop the car here. So we're going to stop the car if I go back. Remember how to drive the controller. On the start-finish line. So we're going to see here, can you see Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, which is the kind of the start line there. This is the finish line. And you can also see those brake markers as well. So you can't really make too much out of there. Right now we're going to go to 60 Hz, which is going to be the best in-game performance. By the way, there's a lot of misinformation about this. You do not get ray tracing full stop in 60 Hz. I think even Digital Foundry have got this wrong. They might not play too much of Gran Turismo 7, but it doesn't matter. You're not going to get ray tracing in the in-game. You'll get it in the... definitely get it in the scapes, and you get it in the replays as well, I think. But not while you're live. Right, here we go. We're going to go again. This is this is the best graphical settings. And we're going to go to the Spa start line. Look at this navigation of the bus stop. Magnificent. And if you want, you can just sort of compare. You have YouTube compression still with as well, but you can just compare what you saw previously and here. To me, it just feels a bit more. I don't know if it's a different time of day, but it feels a bit more lighter and almost saturated. So I don't know why we don't. I don't know if there's a HDR issue going on with 120 hertz. I don't know if that's something to do with. I don't know. I've got a Samsung G7 monitor, which is a pretty beast, but I don't know if there's some issues with HDR there. But you can definitely see that it's just easier to pick out those markers, and as you get closer, that pays more and more dividends. So you can actually, I notice when I'm driving here, it's easy to pick out whether it's a 100 board, whether it's a 50 board. And this is something that you get in PSVR 2 as well. With the lower sort of image quality, it can be harder to pick out those things. You can see pretty clearly here, that's a 50 board at the end of last source. I know that normally we're breaking about the 100 here, unless it's, in which case we're breaking earlier. But I just wanted to show you this comparison to demystify it. Please, please, please let me know in the comments if you have any more questions about it. Please, 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 if you enjoyed it, make sure you subscribe, make sure you liked as well. Just trying to demystify 120 hertz and the different options. Look how the livery just absolutely glistens in this one. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.